Obstürmt oder steigt,
und die Sonne uns lacht, der Tag kühlen heiß, oder eiskalt die Nacht.
We are back and we are playing Clash of Steel again. Today we have the Germans going up against the Soviets. We're going to be playing a 100-point game of Clash of Steel. Looks like our game is going to be the Clash is going to be our mission, and our mission rules are going to be rule number 5, which is eight game rounds and using scattered delayed reserves. Here's a look at our table. Looks like some kind of bunker network in Eastern Europe along the frontier that the Soviets are trying to invade. We have our objectives all set up. We will go over to the armies and we will get kicked off after that. Here is our German force. We are going to have a King Tiger HQ, a squad of 3 King Tigers, a squad of 4 Tiger 1s, a squad of Pumas and pack wagons. Because of the scattered reserves, this is what's going to be deployed on the table. And in reserve, we're going to have a squad of Yag Tigers, a squad of 3 Panthers, and a squad of 3 Tiger 1s. We are also going to be taking the teamwork commander ability to get us up to 100 points. I feel the teamwork works really well with the Germans' stormtrooper rule, so you might as well take advantage of that blitzing and their skill 3. So that is our whole German force. Over to the Soviets. All right, tell us what the Soviets are bringing today.
They're going to be led by an IS-3 with 5 more IS-3s, 2 units of 4 T-34s, 2 units of 6 T-54s, 3 ISU-130s.
You mean 5 ISU-130s?
Or 5.
Sorry.
4 ISU-122s, and they have the resourceful command ability, which makes the commander concealed as long as he doesn't move more than 6 inches.
Okay. What's being held in reserve for the Soviets?
All the IS-2s, the 130s, and the 122s.
Okay. All right. So there we have the Soviets. We will bring you guys back after deployment. All right, we are all set up for the clash scenario. Over here on the German side, we have the Tigers behind the forest. We have the Tiger 2s who aren't afraid of anything sitting out here in the open. We have the commander over here waiting to spot a look at those T-34s over there. And we have the Pumas that are hiding back over here. Nobody could really take advantage of their spearhead maneuver because of how the objectives are placed in this game. Over on the Russian side, we've got the T-34s, T-54s behind them, another unit of T-54s, and another unit of T-34s. It's kind of a balanced setup over there. Originally, this center piece was another building like these, but because we had to put an objective there, we wanted to be able to roll right up on it, so we changed that to just that flat piece of terrain. So that's going to be kind of open out there in the middle. So we are all set up. The Soviets did win first turn, so they're going to be going first. Anything else we need to cover?
I don't think so.
All right, so we will bring you guys back after Soviet turn 1. All right, that was a quick turn for the Soviets. The T-34s moved out to claim that objective. They just barely got within range of objective number 2. And over on this side, the T-34s also backed up by the T-54s moved up to grab this objective. Now these two markers here, we are using these as fields. That's why they don't have trees on them. So they are just going to provide concealment. Our objective number 1 in the center is demolition. So whoever gets to that one first has the chance of getting 5 victory points for it. So right now at the end of turn 1, the Soviets are going to be up 6 points to 0. We'll go over and we'll see what the Germans can return back to them. Here we are at the end of German turn 1. The Tigers went through the trees, even with a cross of 2 up. There's always one guy that fails the cross test. They did manage to bail out a couple of those T-34s, and only one of them was able to remount. But unfortunately, we couldn't destroy anybody from that squad, so the Russians are still in control of that objective. Over here, the King Tigers dashed to get that objective in the middle. They did pass their skill test for the demolition objective, so we got 5 points for that. And then we also are capturing that objective. That objective is now a fuel dump, so it'll be worth an extra 3 at the end of the game. Because they dashed, they could not shoot. Over here, the commander, he just did a blitz move, moved up and managed to destroy one of those T-34s and bail out another one. And the pack wagons bailed out 2 other ones. One of those guys did remount, and he did pass his motivation test. So the Russians are still holding that objective. So at the end of the turn, the Russians are up 12 points to the Germans 8. So we are going off into German turn 8. I'm sorry, we're going off into Russian turn 2. I don't know where that came from. All right, see you guys after that. At the end of Soviet turn 2, the T-54s came around through the field, and with a few shots from the remaining T-34s took out the Pumas. They weren't long for this world. Over here, they can't do anything against those King Tigers yet. The T-54s came through the field and took out 2 of the Tigers. They did bail out the commander, but he did remount at the end of the turn. So the Soviets ended up gathering another 9 points that turn for 2 objectives and destroying the Pumas. But the Germans are still in control of objective number 1 in the center. So we are up, or I'm sorry, the Soviets are up 21 points to the Germans 11. So we will see how the Germans can respond to that in turn 2. All right, slight correction there. We forgot to flip over our objective card. That objective is worth double points. So the Soviets are now up to 24 points at the end of their turn 2. So we will switch over to the Germans now. Okay, at the end of German turn 2, the Tiger Straggler finally made his way through the woods. The regular Tigers managed to destroy 3 of those T-34s out there. And the King Tigers, because they failed their blitz test, only hit once, but they did manage to destroy another one on a flanking shot. So we picked up 3 points for that, and we're still holding that objective. So the Germans go up to 17 points this turn, and the Russians are at how many points?
30.
30 already? Wow. All right, yeah, so 17 to 30. We're falling behind a little bit, but we're starting to deplete the Soviets, so that should help. Over here on this side, the King Tiger managed to or the King Tiger commander managed to destroy another one of the T-34s. We still have no. We'll be going into turn 3 now. So we'll be rolling for reserves next turn. I did use one of my tactics cards to get rid of this objective that allowed the Russians to get double victory points for that, and it is now evacuate civilians. So as we go into turn 3, we'll see what objective marker number 3 looks like. Another quick turn for the Soviets. These T-54s realize they can't do anything to this King Tiger. The T-34s did crank their turrets around and managed to bail out one of those King Tigers over there. He did fail his remount test. Oh, that's actually supposed to be this one. And then over here, all the T-54s managed to do on this side was bail out one of these Tigers. He failed his remount test, but the commander there did pass his motivation test. So these Tigers are still holding on, but barely. No reserves arrived for the Soviets this turn. So the Germans are still holding on at 20 points to... How many do the Soviets have?
36.
36. So the Soviets are still in the lead, but they're getting whittled down. We'll see if some reserves can come in for the Germans and even this up a little bit. All right, see you guys after German turn 3. At the end of German turn 3, this is where we sit. This lone guy remounted at the end of the turn. The commander of this squad couldn't hit anything. The King Tiger remounted at the end of the turn. His 2 fellow King Tigers managed to destroy 2 T-54s over on the other side of the fields there. On this side, the commander destroyed a T-34, and the other lone T-34 failed his motivation test. So the Germans scored 3 points for having the objective in the center and 3 points for destroying this unit of T-34s. We can't contest this objective because it's got the precise location objective on it. You have to be within 2 inches to score points on that. So the Russians are still up 42 points to the Germans 26. But the field for both sides is getting a little thin. Hopefully the Germans can hold on a little bit longer. Neither side got any reserves in on this turn. So as we go into turn 4, we'll see if some reserves start to show up. Another quick turn for the Soviets. The unit of IS-3s came in over there. They did come in and fire off some shots at the side armor of those King Tigers, but the Soviets couldn't manage to hit anything this turn. And the T-54s over here are still trying to take out these Tigers, but they couldn't hit anything over there either. So that is it. The Soviets are up to 48 points to the Germans 29. We will bounce over to German turn 4 and bring you guys back after that. All right, a little bit of good news for the end of German turn 4. The Jag Tigers showed up. They did try to throw some shots at those T-54s, but couldn't manage to do anything. The Tigers blitzed out of the trees so that they could hit the side of the T-54s, but only managed to bail out one of them. Over here, the King Tigers, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn over there on the IS-3s. And over here, the commander, he successfully blitzed to contest that objective, but he couldn't hit anything either. So the Germans are up to 33 points, and the Soviets are at an even 50. So the Soviets are still in the lead, but I like our chances. It's not bleak yet. So we'll see you guys after Soviet turn 5. At the end of Soviet turn 5, this is where we sit. The T-54s turn their turrets around to try and hit these Tigers, but they couldn't hit anything. Over in the middle, the IS-130s showed up, but they couldn't hit anything. The what are they? IS-3s. Their shells can't do anything to the King Tigers there. And over here, these guys are just sitting here trying to contest this objective. The Germans scored 2 points because we contest both objectives. The Soviets only scored 1 point because they contest this objective, but this one here, if you fire within 4 inches of it, because you're supposed to be evacuating civilians, you can't score any points from it. So that gave the Germans 2 points, but the Soviets are still ahead. Would you say 54?
51.
51 to the Germans 35. So we are headed into German turn 5, and hopefully with some more reserves on the way. All right, turn 5 was a good one for the Germans. The Jagdtigers successfully blitzed up to here. They managed to destroy 2 of those T-54s, and the Tiger 1s finished off the rest of the unit. There was one guy left, but he failed his motivation test, so that destroyed the unit. So we got 3 points for them. We could not get any points for this objective because, again, you can't score if you shoot at somebody within 4 inches. Over here, though, and an amazing feat, the King Tiger unit, 6 shots, 5 hits, all 5 went through the armor, and they destroyed that entire unit of ISU 130s in one volley. So that was pretty awesome. We scored 3 points there. We do still hold this objective. And over here, the commander managed to bail out one of the T-54s, and that objective there is contested. So the Germans are on the rise, even though we didn't get any reserves that turn. It is now 52 to 45 with the Soviets on top as we go into Soviet turn 6. Okay, end of Soviet turn 6. The Germans are on the rise, but the Soviets are not out yet. The T-54s finally realized that they could move and came around to the side and managed to take out my commander, thus reclaiming that objective. Over here, the IS-3 commander came in with the reserves. Both him and this unit of IS-3s dashed over to here to get into the side. They couldn't shoot this turn, but they are looking at the side of those King Tigers now. We are going to allow them to contest that objective. We know that the normal rules say that you can't, but we've been playing this game so far that dashing vehicles can contest and claim objectives, so we're just going to finish the game out like that. We'll correct that in the future. Over here, the IS-122s came in, and they fired some shots off at the Tigers, but they managed to miss. So right now, the Soviets are sitting at 59 points to the Germans' 49. So we go on to Germans' turn 6, and hopefully we'll get some more reserves in. End of German turn 6. Our reinforcements arrived. Both the Panthers and the Tigers showed up and came in on this side. Together they managed to knock out 3 of those T-54s, but the Russians do still control that objective. Over here, the King Tigers failed their blitz move, moved around to the side, and took out one of those IS-3s. And roll your bailout test for this guy. He might be back. He is back, and that 122 over there. He's back. Okay. So just destroyed one of them. That guy's not really bailed out. So that objective now is contested. Over here, the Jagdtigers just pivoted and took out 2 of those IS-122s over there. The Tigers chose not to shoot so that we could evacuate civilians and get full points for that objective. So Yeah, one of those 122s just got back in. So right now the Germans are within striking distance for this game. We have 54 points to the Russians 61. So as we go into turn 7, this is still anybody's game. All right, we'll see you guys after Soviet turn 7. It is heating up at the end of Soviet turn 7. The Soviets used one of their tactics cards and flipped the objectives on objective number 2 and objective number 1. Over here, the IS-122s managed to destroy one of my Tigers. The commander of the Tigers did pass his last stand check. Over here, the IS-3s, they just turned to give the Tigers, the King Tigers, their front armor, but stay on the objective. They did not fire so that they could evacuate civilians. The Soviet commander did swing around to the side, successfully passing his blitz and took out one of those King Tigers. Over here, the T-54s turned and managed to take out 2 of the Tigers. But we still have more Germans over here than he has Soviets. So hopefully we can do something about that next turn. But as things sit right now, the Russians are in the lead with 64 to 58 of the Germans as we head into German turn 7. At the end of German turn 7, the Jagdtigers successfully blitzed, moved over to here. They did bail out the Soviet commander, but he did remount at the end of the turn. Our lone Tiger here did take out the last 2 IS-122s. Over here, the King Tigers successfully blitzed and managed to take out 3 of those IS-3s. And over here, we did bail out 2 of those T-54s, but they managed to remount at the end of the turn. Right now, for points, we are sitting at 64 for the Germans and 70 for the Soviets. But the Soviets have decided to concede because they are going to be taking some, unsteady army-wide last stand checks if they lose one more tank from either this unit or the commander, and the Soviets don't think they're going to be able to stand up against those Jagdtigers for too long. So we are going to classify this one as a German victory. Anything you want to say about your units?
I definitely think my men of the match are the T-54s, since they did quite a lot of the killing this time around.
They did hang around for a lot. They definitely hung in there, especially when the reserves weren't coming in. I honestly think that's what held you up the most was the reserves, things coming in piecemeal, and me being able to just pick on one unit at a time. I think the turning point was definitely the King Tigers having an awesome round of shooting and just taking out all 3 of those 133s in one volley. If those guys were still around throwing out their, anti-tank 18 shots, that would be a different story. But no, that was a very good game. Germans definitely got lucky with the Russian reserve rolls. I think that's the real man of the match, is the Russian reserve rolls. All right, anything else you want to say?
I think it might be good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll probably be back next with some fantasy. All right. Till then, everybody have a good time.